Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Half Noon News.
I'm Coach Mike.
I'm Coach Jenna.
Yeah, we're going to have to introduce ourselves every time because we're recording these in the future. So my assumption is there's a brand new person watching this today and they really want to know who I am.
For the record, we're not recording in the future. We're recording them for the future. If we were recording in the future, we would be rich.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Also, I would not be pregnant.
Okay, here is the... We're going to start today with a question, and it's similar to what we're talking about today.
Sorry.
I know, you threw me off. Coach Jenna, when you were a swimmer, what would you eat the morning of a swim meet?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You probably ate well then. It probably wasn't a thing.
It was not. I did not. After my first year or two, it was not a thing. I just ate whatever my parents gave me.
You know, some people don't eat at all when they're nervous or scared. You know, Jen
Not
is
me.
the opposite. So I wouldn't eat.
You wouldn't
until
eat?
later. Until later, I wouldn't even drink water at practice, which is
dang.
not good. What we're going to talk about because
Yeah.
it would I just couldn't. I didn't like the feeling. Later, it wasn't until I became a college swimmer that I could actually scarf down food and.
Yeah, no, I
not
honestly,
great.
I didn't deal with a whole lot of nerves once I got into my swim career. So I think that helps. If you're not nervous,
Yeah.
you can. It's just a normal meal.
I was super nervous. I threw up all the time too before. I'm kind of a. You wouldn't know this, but I'm kind of a nervous person. I don't think so anymore, as much. But when I was younger.
I wouldn't consider you nervous. The only time I remember you throwing up is the 50-50 on the airplanes.
Yeah.
Motion sickness.
Dang it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about practice and meet nutrition. Coach Jen is going to talk about meet nutrition. I'm going to talk about practice nutrition. So we're going to give you some guidelines, some ideas, but I think overall, a great idea here is something is better than nothing.
Yeah, just eat.
Especially when you're in the world of nutrition and how it is on social media now. You get you get all these words thrown at you. Keto, high carb, low fat, high protein, whatever it is. At the end of the day, something is better than nothing. And when it comes to practice, the big thing is you don't want your swimmer to be hungry. I tell athletes all the time, if you're hungry before practice starts, if you get hungry during practice, you messed up. And you didn't just mess up maybe the 30 minutes before practice.
That's probably the whole day.
Yeah, you messed up that day, right? So I think if you are an athlete, your normal 3 square meals a day is fantastic. If you're on one of our higher level teams and you're doing more workouts a week or doubles.
Probably junior and up, I would say.
Junior and up, having a 4th legit meal is not bad. Or 2 snacks throughout the day. Food is fuel, and you need that fuel. You need that energy, not only to perform at that practice, but to recover from that practice. Because growth comes in the recovery, and if your body does not have in the basic form the calories, it doesn't even matter, protein, carbs, whatever. If your body just doesn't have the calories to
start that
recovery process, you're not going to get the same benefit.
Yep.
So as far as when it comes to what you should eat, my key guidelines are we always start the day with heavy on the protein. Probably your breakfast and lunch can be heavier on the protein, or for sure your breakfast, just because it'll hold you down longer. So the athlete who starts the day let's say with just cereal, right? They're just eating quick carbs. Carbs are quick. They come in, maybe you feel like you ate something for a little bit, but you're pretty hungry soon after. Or if you start the day with eggs or something just a little more dense, you just stay fuller longer.
Yeah, protein is more satiating.
When it comes to lunchtime, you can kind of go, I would say, half and half, protein, carb mix, just because if it's too heavy, then you feel you can feel too full going into practice in the afternoon, depending on who you are.
And when your lunchtime is, I know some of our high schoolers right now have lunchtime at 1:35.
Oh yeah, that's real close to practice.
Yep.
So that's tough. So it just depends on the athlete. And then when it comes to dinner time, I say whatever. Just eat a really good meal. At all of your meals, I think you want to try to cover all the bases.
A fruit, a vegetable, a protein.
Yeah, exactly. You'll crush it with that. When it comes to snacks, I think the same things matter. Earlier in the day, I think heavier on the protein, heavier on the fat snacks are fantastic.
So that'd be like Greek yogurt, like a yogurt parfait, right?
Or protein bar.
Yeah, protein bar. Or nuts.
Perfect bars. Perfect bars are great. Those are like high protein and fat.
They sell those at HEB and Natural Foods, and then at Sam's they actually have like a snack pack size. Yeah.
Peanut butter and jelly, right? That's just a little denser on the snacks. Okay. When it comes time before practice, you want to get something that is heavier in carbs, just because carbs are generally like lighter, and your body's going to actually utilize that energy.
Quicker.
So like an hour before practice starts, you can have a high carb type of snack. This is where I love like Cliff Bars. Cliff Bars are like mostly carbs. And I think this is where people sometimes it gets a little convoluted because back to all the internet stuff, everybody's like, no sugar, no sugar. And especially as an adult, you hear about it so much, how much sugar is bad for you, which is really true. But at the end of the day, a sugar is a carb, right? It's a quick carb, it's a quick jump of energy. So like if you're getting that snack, like I wouldn't go sugar-free before swim practice because you're going to utilize that into energy.
I think ideally though, you would want a natural sugar over a processed sugar,
sure,
if possible, right? So like an apple with some peanut butter to dip it in.
Yeah, or a banana.
As opposed to Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah. But back to...
Something is better than nothing.
Yeah, it's like, it's hard to say, like, eat Sour Patch Kids, but really, like, and we're not training Ironman or triathletes here.
Right.
But, like, triathletes in the middle of a race...
They're going to eat those energy gummies.
They drink flat Coke just because it's, like, the sugar hit is so quick.
Yeah.
Like, it's instant energy, basically. So, you probably don't want to give your kid a can of Coke before practice. But you want to go for the carbs there.
Yep.
So that's my big thing. Step one.
What about hydration during practice?
Hydration during practice. Minimum is water. I tell all my athletes, especially like junior and up, to get water and a sports drink, just because your practice is an hour and a half to 2 hours, and like your body naturally does not have enough like electrolytes to maintain working out that consistently for that long. So eventually something's going to give. So you have to replenish as you go.
That's also another thing that's like, if you messed up throughout the day, you're probably going to start getting cramps in practice. And so it's kind of like the hungry during practice thing. Like the hydration shows up as cramping.
Yeah. And so water is great, but junior and up, you should have water and a sports drink or a sports powder, something like that. Again, this is where I say don't shy away from the sugar. Like, don't feel bad that your sports drink has sugar. Your body's going to use it.
Or like Liquid IV has a decent amount of sugar in it too. Like it'll be fine.
So, but you really need that stuff because you're depleting all your energy stores, electrolytes, and you need to replenish that, not only to perform but to recover.
Yeah.
So, and then as far as hydration goes, like a great rule of thumb is half of your body weight in ounces per day. With outside of practice is like pretty solid. That's like not bad.
Yeah.
So if you
come into practice with that, you're gonna be able to perform well.
You'll be doing pretty good. And then during practice, 20 to 32 ounces of water is gonna be pretty good if you want to be exact.
In regards to meats, I think it's very similar to what Coach Mike has been saying. One thing that I try to teach my athletes, so you need to have a good breakfast, right? Just like he talked about, maybe a little lighter on the protein for a meet day so that you don't feel heavy or overly full. But then once you're at the swim meet, it's just really important to actually eat, right? Kids will just go, they'll have the hotel breakfast whenever we're on team travel. Yeah, it's like 6:30 a.m. Then they won't eat anything till we get lunch delivered to the pool at 11:30 or 12. And they've swam warm up, warm down, 3 races, warm up and warm down for all 3 of those races. And it's just too far in between without fuel. And so a good rule of thumb is a small snack and a water bottle for every race that you swim.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, so you do breakfast before warm-ups, and then after warm-ups, after you put your suit on and you're ready to go, you need a small snack and like when I say a water bottle, like the plastic 20-ounce, 18.5-ounce water bottles. It's a great rule of thumb. No candy is what I would suggest.
Yeah.
And fruit chews pretty much count as candy.
Fruit chews are candy.
Fruit chews are candy. So, yeah, that's what I would say. And the earlier you can equip your athlete to plan and pack their own snacks in their swimming career, the better. So the younger you can do that. So like at Dolphin or developmental, that would look like mom and dad packing the snacks for them, like in little bags, like, okay, this is your snack for after the 50 freestyle, this is your snack for after the 50 backstroke, and then as they get older, they are involved in that, and then like once they get to me, they should really be doing all that themselves. So.
Yeah. Yep.
But yep, there's our kind of quick, brief rundown on nutrition for practice and meets.
Yeah. A common question I hear is a question or complaint is like, I give them food and they won't eat. Which, like, if it was me when I was younger and I was nervous, I probably wouldn't have eaten the food my mom gave me.
Communicate with your coach in that situation, because we have a little more sway over that than you do from upstairs, right?
Yeah, a lot of kids, like if at practice we tell kids, like, hey, if you want to have the best races possible, you will eat before the meet.
Yeah.
And like that sometimes triggers that, I'm sorry, parents, like, and I'm already feeling it too with my daughter in kindergarten. Like, the dad doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like, she came home saying how proud her coach was of her, which is really cool. And it was something that I've been encouraging her on already. And I get zero credit for it. But
yeah. So sometimes if you just let your coach know, hey, they didn't eat breakfast today. Like, we don't always think to ask that question every swim meet. But knowing that helps. Just shoot us a quick text, and then we can help educate on that too. So.
One last thing I want to add on. If your swimmer is not eating, making them feel bad about that is usually not motivating or helpful. And on the coaching staff, we don't do that, right? So
what would that like practically look like?
Yeah, so like a kid walks in and I'm like, all right, hey, and I'm just talking to them at, let's say, at a meet, and I'm like, hey, did you eat? And they're like, no. I'm like, all right, let's try to plan to eat next time, and I just move on, right?
As opposed to this race is not probably going to go well since you don't have adequate fuel.
Exactly.
Or like in the car on the way home, like, well, of course you got tired on the last 50 because you didn't eat breakfast. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not going to be helpful.
Yeah, it's not going to be helpful, especially from the parent. As a coach, I would save that conversation for practice.
The next week.
Next week. Just because once you're at the meet, if
too late.
If they slept bad, if they ate bad, whatever it is bad, me ragging on them or reminding them like, oh, you're going to do so bad today because of this, like, that's not going to help at a swim meet. It's kind of like, So once they get to the meet, I'm going to check in on them, and I'm just taking information in, who's doing it, who's not, and we'll go from there. But and the athletes who really struggle to eat, the best success I've seen with them is try different things, right? It's like, I hate eggs, I hate this, and it's like, okay, well, do you like strawberries? Do you like this?
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of success with just like, I want you to try this.
Yep.
So. Cool.
If you have any nutrition questions, just send them our way. And honestly, you could probably also ask your athlete. They probably know more what they need food and drink wise than they realize or that you give them credit for.
Definitely. Cool.
Okay. Thanks
for
guys.
listening.